Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. A large tract of property has been sold in Oxford. Guess what's going in there?
Stay tuned, learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. An historic piece of Oxford acreage has been sold. Over 100 acres, known as Hunter's Ridge Hunt Club on Barber Road, transferred ownership for a mere $800,000 to a Detroit-based organization known as House of Providence, founded by Jason and Maggie Dunn of Clinton Township. The acreage is intended to be a safe and secure harbor for Michigan's foster youth. The nonprofit will provide a good family environment for kids who have not been adopted into a permanent home. We will keep you posted on the progress.
The homegrown brewery slated for the old Oxford Vets Hall at 28 North Washington is nearing completion, according to the owners John and Marie Powers. The couple say when open for business, they will introduce specialty homegrown local beer. The business will also include a restaurant with large dining rooms and sitting rooms with available space on the upper level for events. A chef has been hired who has both brewing and culinary experience, and the owners expect to hire 16 to 20 full and part-time employees to accommodate the anticipated 100 customer capacity.
At the July Village of Oxford Planning Commission, Village Planner Chris Corey summoned up targeted redevelopment sites in the village, which could be used for future development, including areas of Center Washington and Burdick Streets.
And the last thing we want to do is buy land, bring a developer in, consolidate, sell, and then show up and say, whoops, it's zoned for parking. So a big part of what we're doing here, and why I keep talking about revising the form-based code and getting rid of some of these antiquated zoning classifications for certain properties that aren't going to work, or taking the non-conforming label off of things, is to try to make it so our planning and zoning documents are already set. So when we're talking about the money and we're talking about the people involved, we don't have to worry about that side. Because when it comes in front of this body, you know you're going to get something that matches your vision, because your vision's been clearly articulated and your zoning and planning documents reflect what the vision is. So I think that if we can get this master plan adopted, if we can get the zoning amendments that go along with it in place, we don't have to wait until everything's completely done to start being proactive in economic development ways, but it'll help.
Following the presentation, local developer Chuck Snyder stated the potential growth opportunities for the village cannot happen without implementation.
We have a master plan, we've had a master plan, we've revised the master plan, but how are we going to implement the master plan? That's where we don't have this thing, we don't have our arms around that piece. Are you going to rely on me or other developers to execute these visions that Chris has put in front of you? If you are, then you need to make that known, and you need to have incentives for us to do this. Otherwise, this is just a plan that's going nowhere.
Former Planning Commissioner Brian Cloutier agreed with Snyder. The master plan needs to be put into motion.
To Mr. Snyder's point, oftentimes you spend money on creating these posters with these pictures and these booklets with these plans, and we don't do a damn thing to follow them, quite frankly. They just get dusty sitting behind Chris's desk or sitting behind the desk of the DDA director or in the closet in Joe's office. You need a leader. You need someone who is able to step up to the plate and really invest time and energy into not just understanding the vision of the community, but understanding the investors like Mr. Snyder who want to come to this town and make these plans come to life, because we're not going to do it. We don't do it on our own.
Corey supported both opinions, but pointed out the Planning Commission's basic role involves knowing the documents before any action is to be taken.
At that same meeting, a final resolution was adopted by the Planning Commission to keep LED sign ordinance as it is. The Village Council previously passed a motion to ban all LEDs in the village, but were requested to send it back to the Commission to either confirm their position or come up with a new guideline which will address signage on an individual basis. Commission Chair John Duval repeated his position on the issue, and it has not changed.
Won't make any secret of it. I'm very much opposed to LEDs myself as a personal position on it. By no means that of the Planning Commission. I think that they're not appropriate to the historic mission of what Oxford is evolving and can be, but hasn't yet reached its full potential to reflect and to display. I think the one way of slowing traffic more than anything else is give people something to look at when they pass through, other than bling, quite frankly.
Newly appointed Commissioners Adam Johnson and Gary Douglas supported Duval's opinion.
Mr. Johnson?
As stated earlier, my primary concern is looking at this future map of available properties, and residential is all around it. That's my biggest concern. Again, I would hate to live next to them, and so I would have to, seeing that the proposed C1 transition would allow for them, and living so near to them, I would be against it.
Okay. Mr. Douglas?
Mr. Chairman, I happen to agree with you. I've lived in communities where unrestrained growth of signage has cheapened and destroyed the visual appeal and the aesthetic of a community. I would hate to see that happen here.
A motion to make no changes to the adopted sign ordinance passed unanimously.
Oakland County Executive L. Brooks Patterson recently honored 10 Main Street communities, and Oxford was given a perfect score by the National Main Street Center in Chicago. Accepting the award were DDA Executive Director Joe Frost, DDA Board President Pete Schultz, and Oakland County Commissioner Mike Spiz. While presenting the award, Patterson praised the community's commitment to making downtown Oxford an attractive destination for businesses, residents, and visitors. Congratulations, Oxford.
A man walking his dog on Hosner Road claims that a white pit bull attacked his Jack Russell Terrier. He told police the pit seemed to come out of nowhere to attack his dog. The owner was unharmed. Police found the homeowner of the dog and ordered them to keep the dog contained until they're contacted by animal control for review of the incident.
Although we did get some rain over the weekend, it wasn't enough to have any impact on possible fire ignition concerns. Due to extended hot weather conditions, grass and wooded areas are still extremely dry, making them easily adaptable to fire conditions. Until further notice, both Oxford and Addison Townships have issued temporary bans on all outdoor fires, including outdoor fire pits and brush burning. Any questions should be directed to your local fire department.
More than 24 boats participated in the Lakeville Lake Boat Parade this year, honoring Independence Day. Happy Birthday America was the theme. All sizes, styles, and makes of boats competed for prizes and bragging rights. The judges for the event were Leonard residents Dan and Shar Sotheby and Addison Township Library Director Jema Berman. That's it for Oxford News this week. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or better yet, catch us right here at OCTV Charter Channel 191 and AT&T Channel 99. And I want to thank Julie Hogan for filling in for me last week.
That's nice. Yeah, she did a good job. Coming up next on OCTV, Oxford Sports with Jamie Hughes. And also catch Oxford School News with John Olchins. And don't miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Terry Stiles, and this is Oxford News This Week, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors. And thanks for watching.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, jubilation, relief, and exhaustion. That was the reaction at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, the heart of the Juno mission, when the probe pulled into orbit around Jupiter last Monday. It was the most dangerous day for NASA's Juno spacecraft since its launch in 2011. Long communication times between Earth and the probe made human help impossible, so mission engineers could do nothing but wait to hear whether it had succeeded. Juno's approach was the fastest ever by a spacecraft going into orbit at more than 200,000 kilometers per hour relative to Earth. In the event, the spacecraft slipped into a near-perfect orbit after a journey covering 869 million kilometers. "We conquered Jupiter," said mission lead Scott Bolton, who was overwhelmed as the confirmation came in. "All that went through my head was, wow, it's perfect." Bolton wasn't exaggerating. Juno's orbit is so close to ideal that it was a mere second behind its scheduled trajectory. Juno is now on a 53.5-day capture orbit. Then, on October 14th, it will burn its main engine, tightening up into a 14-day orbit. This will also be when it turns on its scientific instruments to carry out its major observations. Over the next year and a half, the craft will investigate some of Jupiter's biggest mysteries, mapping the planet's gravity and magnetic fields, looking for evidence of a solid core, and tracking its auroras. Wow. Back on Earth at sea, it's a turtle tragedy. Tumors are crippling an increasing number of green sea turtles on Australia's Great Barrier Reef. The affected animals have a turtle-specific herpes virus that causes fibropapillomatosis, a condition in which disfiguring tumors grow on and inside the body. Those can block vision and increase the risk of other infections, says Karina Jones at James Cook University in Townsville, Australia. Her team's survey this year shows that in parts of the reef, as many as half of the turtles have these crippling tumors. "We think there must be some external trigger that causes the tumor development," says Jones. Tumors, or turtles that is, in healthy marine environments can still carry the virus, but it often lies dormant with no symptoms. The next step is to try to pin down the pollutants responsible. Good luck. And back in space, onward and upwards. Following the spectacular flyby of Pluto last year, the New Horizons spacecraft is now officially headed for one final job before its fuel runs out. NASA has formally approved an extension of the mission to visit 2014 MU-69, a small ancient object just 30 to 40 kilometers across, minuscule compared with the 2,370 kilometer diameter of Pluto. To reach MU-69, New Horizons will head out towards the Kuiper Belt, which is home to millions of icy bodies that are reckoned to be the remnants from the birth of our solar system 4.6 billion years ago. If all goes according to plan, it will reach MU-69 on January 1st, 2019. It's extremely good news that NASA approved the mission, says Wesley Fraser of Queen's University in Belfast in the UK, who investigates the origins of the solar system. Because objects such as MU-69 are thought to have been in place since the early days of the solar system, almost like a time capsule, they might hold clues to the building blocks of planetary systems. It's known to be red because it's baked in the sun, said Fraser. The red coloration is probably organic material, long-chain hydrocarbons that appear red because they absorb visible and ultraviolet radiation. But Fraser is hopeful that the probe may discover rocks on the surface too. And under the sea, the deep sea is about to yield more of its secrets. The Nekton Alliance, launched last week, brings together more than 30 international organizations from the fields of science, technology, and business to learn more about Earth's final frontier. "We know more about the surface of Mars and the Moon than we do about our own seabed," says principal scientist Alex Rogers of the University of Oxford. The Alliance's XL Catlin Deep Ocean Survey will kick off with dives into Bermuda this month using both manned and autonomous submersibles. Rogers says such increasingly sophisticated craft are giving us an unprecedented access to the deep sea. "We see a great need to learn, and we have the technology to do it." Nekton's ultimate aim is to diagnose the health of the waters beneath 200 meters to better inform policy decisions on protecting these habitats. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
Oxford Orient Fish helps provide emergency aid to the people of Oxford, Lake Orion, Addison, and Oakland Townships. One of the only self-served food banks in the state, Oxford Orient Fish provides once-a-month food supplies based on the size of the family. To donate, volunteer, or to find out more, call Oxford Orient Fish at 248-628-3933 or go to their website, oxfordorientfish.org. Oxford Orient Fish, neighbors helping neighbors.
Welcome to the Oxford Wildcat School Update. Now that we're cruising into summer, we're doing some backtracking to feature some stories we weren't able to get to before. One of them has to do with the Oxford Virtual Academy and its director, Andrew Hulbert. Earlier we mentioned that the expansion that's going on this summer over there will be completed by August 1st. And during that interview, Andrew also brought up a new teaching method. It has to do with our ability to connect with almost anyone, anywhere, and it's called collaborative apps.
I've been working with Dr. Elliot Soloway out of the University of Michigan on creating collaboration apps for digital learning, both in a virtual world and even more so in a traditional brick and mortar. So we wanted kids to really be able to perform their learning and work together in a collaborative nature. So not just know the content, be able to perform it in new and challenging atmospheres with other students. And so we've been working on this at the middle school with Andrew McDonald and Jennifer Crotto in their classrooms, their 6th grade science classrooms. We've been working with what we call the Collabrified apps, and they're built on the Google platform. We've invested in some Google Chromebooks for their classroom, and we've seen kids really embrace that digital learning opportunity in the classroom, working together. It really to make sure that they know the content and they're able to share it with a neighbor. As the projects have unfolded, they've had some of their classes do what would be a traditional poster board or ideas that they've done in the previous years, and then the other half of their classes they had them do it on the new digital Collabrified apps. And the students gravitated to the Collabrified apps to the point where they took all of their classes to the Collabrified apps because the kids, they use digital products, they use digital animation, they use that in every walk of their life. We need to make sure that they can use that, they can embrace it, and it causes encouragement and excitement in their learning, in their day-to-day educational experience.
Okay. Andrew went on to explain the importance of this.
It allows kids who wouldn't normally verbally insert a comment or talk or really share. We've all been in group projects where one kid really controls the entire process and the other kids just kind of, ride the coattails. Well, let's say that we were designing something of this nature. If we were all on the same Collabrified apps, as I add an item in the architecture of this, then it would automatically show up on everybody else's computer that I'm working with. And so it causes other students to ask why, and we want them to ask why and dig deeper. Well, I don't understand why you put a chair here. Well, let's talk about it. So it really stimulates conversation that we haven't seen in the traditional brick and mortar in the past.
So it's another way for students who might be a little on the bashful side to chip into the conversation or the project.
And it makes the more assertive students be better listeners.
Right. And it seems to me that this is another contribution to the International Baccalaureate philosophy.
Absolutely. So we have a partnership with the U of M, and U of M has a partnership with a bunch of schools in Singapore. So we're hoping that these type of apps will start to bridge those collaborative relationships.
That's Andrew Hulbert, director of our virtual academy. One of the many fun things going on in our schools last May was Lakeville Elementary's Field Day. PE instructor Brian Luba was in charge.
This is our field day, something we do every year. This is like a celebration of everything we learned in physical education this year. So we have 25 stations. The kids' challenge is to try to get through as many of them as they can.
They had all kinds of things to keep the kids moving. Frisbee, running, sack racing, beanbag throwing, you name it, the kids had a blast. A $52.3 million district budget was approved by our school board a few days ago.
Our district is expected to end the year in the black with about $215,000 to spare. Student enrollment is projected to remain about the same. Just a reminder that our school board meetings have been changed to Tuesdays now. They are always at 6:30 p.m. The first of the Tuesday meetings is scheduled on July 12th at the board office. Once again, they are at 6:30. That's the Oxford School Update for this week. Hope you're having a great summer. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
Back with you on Oxford News this week. Hope you're doing well, enjoying your summertime. And again, we are happy to have you along with us. And the Oxford Athletic Department is excited to announce Norm Peterzymes as the new head coach of the cross-country team. Coach Peterzymes has 15 years of cross-country experience, coaching in track, obviously, and training in distance. He has had the opportunity to coach state champion runners as the head cross-country coach. Head track coach for the East Detroit, Coach Peterzymes ran cross-country for Macomb Community College for 2 years, and then he would later on run for Oakland University. Mr. Peterzymes is also the special ed teacher at the Oxford High School. Welcoming with a Wildcat welcome to Oxford, Mr. Peterzymes. This is coming up real fast. Our golf fans, check it out. The Oxford football will be hosting the 6th annual golf outing at the Oxford Hills Country Club. The outing will take place on Saturday, July 30th at 10 a.m. with a shotgun start. Please arrive about 9:15, they're asking. All proceeds from the outing will benefit Oxford football. Individuals or teams smaller than 4 and want to participate, do not rule yourself out. They'll put foursomes together the day of the event. If you are unable to attend and wish to donate, feel free to contact them directly. $100 per person is the fee right now. The fee includes 18 holes of golf, a cart, lunch at the turn, and a beverage ticket, and a door prize ticket as well. $100 whole sponsorships are available if you feel you would like to do that to help out the football team on the tee box. Recognition at the banquet must send you must send payment in early. Golf if you're not golfing. There will be multiple door prizes available as well. They'll meet at the dining room after the golf event for a cash bar and also pass out prizes. If you'd like to donate any type of prize, you can also bring that directly to the event. Check it out. They have a downloadable form all about the Oxford Golf event on the Oxford Athletics website. Speaking about the Oxford Athletics website, check that out again, a place to be to find out all the information for fall sports, tryouts, and practices. You'll definitely want to check it out. Grades 7 through 12, if you want to participate in any of the sports, you're going to want a physical before or April 15th or after. It has to be in their office to even participate. Oxford Community School students and their parent guardians must complete the form. Students must be eligible to compete in interscholastic athletics by adhering to the eligibility of rules, regulations, and guidelines that are set up by Oxford schools and the Michigan School Athletics Association. 2, again, athletes must have a current sports physical exam, and it must be in the Oxford Athletes office prior to April 15th of this year. Again, you want to get that done before you even consider trying out. It must be signed by an MD, a DO, a PA, or a nurse practitioner. Again, get those physical forms in. Also, number 3, complete athletic registration forms can be downloaded, including an emergency information packet, handbook, acknowledgement transportation, consent waiver, and concussion testing consent. Again, that's all downloadable. It's at oxfordathletics.org. You're going to want to download all these forms, get prepared for the upcoming fall season. Again, oxfordathletics.org, right there at your fingertips. You can get all the schedules and things you need for your upcoming athlete for the fall season. While you're on the web, I always urge you to tune into our website. It's OCCTV.org. You can hit the Programs tab, YouTube tab, and catch any one of our programs at your leisure on the computer, iPad, or phone, wherever you choose to watch. I urge you to tune in conventionally on TV. Saturday and Sundays, we do broadcast our sporting events, and we are proud to be partnering up with the Parks and Rec Department for both the girls and seniors softball series. Again, that can be seen on weekends here on OCTV. Again, always jot this down, OCCTV.org. That's our website. We'll see you next week, Oxford Sports, and congratulations on our new cross-country coach. See you later, everybody. Watch one of the longest running programs on OCTV, Our Community Access, every day at 9:30 and 5:30. Hosted and produced by Bill Service. Our Community Access, keeping it local.
All today on Our Community Access.
Hey Leonard, you're watching OCTV.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Governor Rick Snyder vetoed a bill June 16th that would limit access to aftermarket repair parts, saying the law would increase costs to consumers and hurt the state's aftermarket industry. Supported by the state's legislature, the bill included an amendment that would allow body shops to use only new and recertified parts from original manufacturers in vehicle repairs during the first 5 years of warranty. The bill specifically referred to the repairs of major component parts such as engines, transmissions, fenders, airbags, among other parts. The latest version of the bill would allow vehicle owners to use aftermarket parts if they confirmed in writing that, but that wasn't enough for Snyder. In addition to potential higher repair costs for replacements, Snyder said in a statement, the bill would hurt consumers with increased auto insurance costs, which are already too high. He said the bill may be intended to increase safety for consumers in assuring new product replacements, but it limits use of safe, high-quality aftermarket parts designed specifically for particular vehicles. And at Mercedes-Benz, the redesigned 2017 E-Class sedan is a snapshot into the future of driving, or rather not driving. Its driver assistant technology can practically take over the vehicle in a traffic jam. It can steer, change lanes, and stop on its own. It allows up to a minute of hands-free driving. It has limitations. A driver must be ready to take over the wheel at a moment's notice. The semi-autonomous features are the most advanced in a production vehicle from Mercedes-Benz, a leader in self-driving car developments. But it's the suite of advanced driver assistant technology that is the game changer in the E-Class, Bart Herring, General Manager of Product Development, said. For the first time, the brand has a 360-degree sensor array around the car using both radar and forward-facing cameras. All these work together, and in a sense, they're the eyes and ears supplementing the eyes and ears of the driver, he said. It's some really great technology to not only keep you safe, but to keep you comfortable, because we found that it's a stress-free driver that actually is a better driver. Standard in the 2017 E-Class are pre-safe sound. It's a potential collision is detected. The car emits an interference signal through the sound system that triggers a protective human reflex in the inner ear called a stapedius reflex. It protects the occupant's hearing by preparing the ears for the sound of the accident. Also, active brake assist. It recognizes pedestrians, warns the driver of impending crashes, boosting brake power during emergency, and can even apply brakes automatically if necessary. Optional technologies include Drive Pilot. This package includes an advanced adaptive cruise control that can, for the first time, follow traffic in front at speeds of up to 130 miles an hour, and Steering Pilot helps the vehicle steer when it's in this mode. Active Lane Change Assist is available for the first time. It will move the vehicle into an unoccupied lane on multi-lane roads once a driver has signaled a turn for at least 2 seconds. The lane change feature is available at launch in the U.S. And Evasive Steering Assist. This adds steering torque to help a driver performing an evasive maneuver to avoid an accident and straighten the car back out safely. And Pre-Safe Impulse Side. When an imminent side impact crash is detected, this inflates an air chamber in the side bolster of the front seat to push front seat occupants toward the center of the vehicle and away from the impact. And a new feature in use in other markets but not available immediately in the U.S. include Remote Parking Pilot. This allows the vehicle to be moved in and out of garages and parking spaces remotely using a smartphone app. Even though the hardware is already in the car, the feature is being held up by the regulatory environment in the U.S. Wow. And on the new side, Elio Motors has offered a look at its first test vehicle before the 2017 launch of its three-wheeled vehicles. CEO Paul Elio, speaking to supplier executives, reporters, and legislators, unveiled the first of his company's 23 E-Series vehicles to be used in safety and durability testing. If you look closely throughout the vehicle, this is getting closer and closer to production throughout, he said. The company plans to begin production of its vehicles expected to start at $6,800 and get up to 84 miles per gallon in 2017 after testing is completed. Elio, which initially planned to begin production in 2014, that is, plans annual production volume at its Shreveport, Louisiana plant of at least 250,000 vehicles. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.